Hello, BookTube. So, this is one of the books I read this week. I had oral surgery. They cut out my wisdom teeth. Lucky me, I ended up getting dry socket in the back right there, so that was real fun. So all last week I was taking massive amounts of ibuprofen to keep the pain at bay. So that was a very unfun experience, but thankfully I'm back from that. So I'm going to review today. I know I'm taking kind of a break, but I think I can manage to review the books I've read in the week. This week has been an interesting week. I listened to the audiobooks. The audiobooks, You, which is the novel based on, or the Netflix series based on the novel by Caroline Kepnes, I think that's how you pronounce it. And Hidden Bodies, I'm halfway through, by Caroline Kepnes, which is the sequel to You. It's a book about a serial killer, I guess, and a guy with narcissistic personality disorder and a stalker. So it's an X-rated book. I did not realize that when I started reading the novel. It is completely X-rated. It's very detailed in relation to 50 Shades of Grey kind of stuff. So not my cup of tea, but I figured I'm already almost done with it, so I'm done with it after that. I know not to worry about Caroline Kepnes to read anything after this. So that was You, which you can watch on Netflix. Won't miss much if you just watch the TV series. And Hidden Bodies, which is the second novel in the series. I believe I gave You 5 stars because it was an interesting premise, and I gave Hidden Bodies 4 stars. I'm also halfway through edited and introduced by Francis King. It's Astral Projection, Ritual Magic and Alchemy, Golden Dawn material by S.L. McGregor Mathers and others. So there's that. As you guys can tell, it's an old occult book. The Golden Dawn was real popular in the 18th and early 19th century. For a point of reference, Aleister Crowley was a member. He got kicked out because he's a weirdo. So there is that. I got this book for free at my library. I guess they figured since it's called Ohio, it's a good book to have in Ohio, which I think is ridiculous because the author is I don't think he's from Ohio, but he lives in Los Angeles. So you can't get any further from Ohio than LA. Literally. And probably figuratively, I don't know. If you don't live somewhere, don't write about it. That's kind of how I feel, especially in relation to that. It says national bestseller, but it doesn't say New York Times bestseller. So, it's kind of iffy. I read Robert A. Heinlein's The Rolling Stones. I loved it. It was a good series, a good book. I did not realize Gene Roddenberry had actually plagiarized Trouble with Tribbles from this book. It was published in 1953. And y'all know Star Trek was a major thing in the 60s. I believe they copyrighted the Tribbles from what they call flat cats. Hope that's what it is. And I read an article about it after I read it because literally Tribbles. And as you guys can tell, those are flat cats. So there's that. I liked it. Funny. The blurb on the the blurb on the back. A family affair. When the Stone twins made up their minds to leave Lunar City in a second-hand spaceship, they hadn't planned on their whole family accompanying them. But the Stones were not your ordinary lunar family. No way! And their voyage through the solar system sure proved it. What began as a simple business expedition to Mars soon mushroomed into a dangerous situation when Grandma Stone was lost in space. Then, just when everything seemed to be getting better, a Martian flat cat came aboard and fouled up the works. But the real troubles didn't get underway until the Stones headed for the asteroid belt to take up a mining proposition they somehow couldn't refuse. A super science fiction adventure. Definitely recommend it. You guys know I like Robert Heinlein, so this was a 5-star book. If you can find a copy of it, definitely check it out. The next book I read this last week is Thomas Harris' Cari Mora, a novel. He's the guy that gave us The Silence of the Lambs. There's that. The front cover actually has a really pretty picture. Yeah, right there. Painted Painting by Luis Pardini, photograph by Robin Hill. Love this book. 4 stars on Goodreads. I like anything he reads. It's suspenseful. It's interesting. It's relevant. So, long story short, criminals tried to get Pablo Escobar's gold out of below his house in Miami. Cari Mora, a woman fighting against evil greed and the consequences of dark obsession. Half a ton of dead man's gold lies hidden beneath a mansion on the Miami Beach waterfront. Ruthless men have tracked it for years. Leading the pack is Hans Peter Schneider. Driven by unspeakable appetites, he makes a living fleshing out the violent fantasies of other, richer men. Carrie Mora, caretaker of the house, has escaped from the violence in her native country, Colombia. She stays in Miami on a wobbly temporary protected status, subject to the iron whim of ICE, Immigration's Custom Enforcement. She works at many jobs to survive. Beautiful, marked by war. Carrie catches the eyes of Hans Peter as he closes in on the treasure. But Cari Mora has surprising skills, and her will to survive has been tested before. Monsters lurk in the crevices between male desire and female survival. No other writer in the last century has conjured those monsters with more terrifying brilliance than Thomas Harris. Cari Mora, his 6th novel, is the long-awaited return of an American master. And there's a picture of Thomas Harris. Definitely check this book out. It is very dark. It's very brooding. The atmosphere is like really, really cool. So check this out. You guys will not be disappointed. But then again, I'm a huge fan of Hannibal Lecter and 6 novels, and he's had so many movies and series. Guy's got to be a good writer or have one hell of a good agent. It's probably what you guys, the way it works. Another one I really enjoyed was The Fall of Shannara, the Black Elfstones. This is the 4th to the last Shannara series. I didn't realize this, but Terry Brooks is wrapping up the Shannara, World of Shannara, in approximately next year. The last book in the Shannara series is coming out. Disappointing, but you know, he's been writing since the late 70s. If the guy wants to stop writing a series, he's more power to him. I will read the blurb and I'll tell you guys what I think. Across the 4 lands, peace has reigned for generations. But now, in the far north, an unknown enemy is massing. More troubling than the carnage is the strange and wondrous power wielded by the attackers. A breed of magic unfamiliar even to the Druid order. Fearing the worst, High Druid dispatches a diplomatic party under the protection of the order's sworn guardian, Darlea, to confront the mysterious encroaching forces and discover its power. But another crucial journey is being undertaken exiled one time. High Druid Drisker Ark has been living in quiet seclusion far from the politics and power struggles of his former life, until 2 brutal attacks by would-be assassins force him to seek out an infamous murder-for-hire guild and find the hidden enemy who has marked him for death. At his side is Tarsha Kanan, a young woman gifted with the wish song and eager to be schooled in its formidable power by a master. She too is pursuing a mission to locate her wayward brother, whose own magic has driven him to a deadly madness and kindled his rage for vengeance against his sister. In their darkest hours, facing dangerous adversaries, the lives and quests of Darley, Drisker Ark, and Tarsha Kanan will be inextricably drawn together, and the challenges each confronts will have resounding consequences for the future of the 4 lands. So, 5 stars on Goodreads. That's how good it was. I enjoyed it. Definitely check it out. But then again, anybody who has read Terry Brooks realizes he is like the best fantasy writer out there. Alright, thank you for watching, and I look forward to reading your comments. Please feel free to subscribe, and have a good day, afternoon.